Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is a relatively informal session, so do feel free to have your cameras on, have them off if you prefer, whatever you are more comfortable with. We will just give it a minute or so just to let people get on and get situated. But just a note beforehand, if you do need the captions, then you should be able to access them at the bottom of the screen. There's a little CC button that you should be able to get to. But if anyone has any issues with that, then yeah, please do let us know. And this is the inclusive communication networking session. We'll have a little lean towards sort of video and social media accessibility, but of course it's a session for yourselves. So yeah, do discuss whatever comes to mind, whatever thoughts you have as well. Yeah, we'll give it another minute or so. And just to note that the session is also being recorded. But yeah, I hope everyone's well and everyone's enjoying TechShare Pro so far. And you've managed to make it to a few cool panel shows at the moment.
I'm here live at the actual TechShare Pro event. Well, Jack's joining us online, as I guess.
Yes, remote.
Don't know if anyone here is joining from another corner of the event or if everybody's networking in real life if they're here. I'm not sure. But
Yeah, you could be neighbors with someone, Paul. You don't even know it. You're
could
right
be
next door.
lurking anywhere here.
Surrounded. Cool. So that's a couple of minutes past. Oh, we just got someone in the chat saying they may need to pop in and out. Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Like I said, this is an informal session just during lunch. Do feel free to pop in and out as you see fit. But yeah, let's start with a few introductory bits, a few housekeeping bits, just to get us going. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. You're all very welcome. This is a networking session on inclusive communication. If you are not here to have a chat about inclusive communication, then you might be in the wrong place, but do let us know, and hopefully we can direct you to the right place, or stick around if you think this sounds of interest to you. As I said earlier, there are captions available, and you can turn these on and off as required using that CC button at the bottom of your screen. Again, any issues with this, yeah, please do let us know. So in this session, which will run up until around 1:45, we'll be having a chat about inclusive communication with a slight lean towards accessible videos and social media. And this will be facilitated by myself and my colleague, Paul. So my name is Jack Baker. I'm an accessibility and usability consultant with AbilityNet. And my day-to-day sort of role involves things like conducting audits, accessibility audits for sort of websites and apps and documents, any sort of digital content really. It also involves sort of carrying out diverse user research, delivering training and workshops and things like that as well. So quite a varied role. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself? I'm sure yours will be very similar to mine, but
Well, indeed, you've saved me a lot of,
yeah.
words, to be honest, there, because I am also a consultant at AbilityNet, and my role is very, very similar to Jack's. And sometimes we work on the same projects together. Sometimes we don't speak for months, but yeah,
Yeah.
we are, yeah, we're both very much in the same boat in terms of our role, and very interesting and varied it is too.
Indeed. So yeah, thank you. So as I said, it's a very informal chat. It is really just a place to have you all, discuss your thoughts, experiences, knowledge, etc. around this subject, and essentially just network with each other, get to know each other, and talk about your similar interests. You are very welcome to unmute yourselves and speak, or do add your comments in the chat, whichever you're more comfortable with. We thought we would spend the first sort of 10, maybe 15 minutes just sharing some key considerations when it comes to creating accessible videos, and then when it comes to sort of posting on social media. And then we were going to put you into breakout rooms, but I think maybe there's not quite enough people. Maybe we'll see if more people join. We can potentially put you into some breakout rooms to either perhaps discuss some of the points that we raised, or we can give you some other prompts for discussion as well. Or as this session is for you, talk about whatever is on your minds when it comes to inclusive communications. So does anyone have any questions or comments on anything so far? Is everyone happy to be here? Is everyone in the right place? I'm going to take that silence as a yes, that you are in the right place and you are enjoying yourselves so far. So yeah, so as I said, I mean, earlier on today, I don't know if anyone managed to catch the session on sort of inclusive and sort of having that sort of media representation for those with disabilities and access needs. Um, but there's also that other side of, yes, of course, it's absolutely amazing that we want to have that sort of representation, but we also want people to be able to sort of view and access that content, that media as well. So just to start with, I'm just going to go through a few sort of key considerations for creating accessible videos, and then Paul will talk a little bit about sort of accessible social media. So first of all, in terms of accessible videos, one of the most inclusive bits of comms that you can have is that of transcripts, just because they can be used by such a diverse range of people. So just some things you might want to consider when creating your transcripts. So of course, first of all, you want to reproduce the dialogue verbatim where possible. You also want to make sure that you're describing important background sounds as well. We often see that that's often excluded from a lot of transcripts. Things like audiences applauding or laughing, for example. We want to make sure that's included, as well as any sort of other visual events that are going on. So if someone is holding an object or performing an action, then we want to make sure that we're including that in our transcripts. You may also want to aid the navigation of the transcript by using things like headings and lists. You can even include links where relevant to provide more information. It's also a good idea to advise who's speaking and, if relevant, maybe how they're speaking as well. So are they whispering? Are they shouting? They have a certain tone of voice. And it is important to note that transcripts, while they can be auto-generated by different software, and this is often, a good way to get that sort of foundation of the transcript, it is always good to sort of review them before publishing them, just to sort of check for mistakes and omissions and things like that. And then just as a potential discussion point, and I'll reiterate these as well at the end, but what do people feel would be best practice to include in a transcript? What would make them more usable as well as accessible? I know I mentioned things like headings and lists, but it'd be great to hear your thoughts as well. And when we I'll put you into breakout rooms. If we do that, then we can potentially have that as a discussion point. But just moving on to the next thing we want to be considering for videos, and that is, of course, captions. And just to note that transcripts, when you create them, can be a good basis for your captions. So hopefully, sort of getting two birds with one stone there, not having to reiterate your work. And just a quick note that subtitles and captions do actually serve different purposes. So they are often sort of used interchangeably, but they do serve different purposes. So subtitles only convey the dialogue and are commonly used for things like translation because of this. Whereas captions capture all of the essential audio. So they capture the dialogue, they capture music, sound effects, audio cues. And we want to make sure that we're including that meaningful information within our captions as well. So of course, we want to have clear, consistent, and accurate captions that represent exactly what the user is speaking. We also want to make sure that we are allowing enough time for those captions to be read. Obviously, people can speak quite speedily. Scenes can sort of come and go quite quickly. And we just want to make sure that we have enough time for them to actually be read. Placement is also something we want to consider. If there's something important going on in the video, if there's, for example, text that's in the video, we want to make sure that we don't have our captions sort of going over that information. So definitely consider placement when you are looking at including captions. You usually want no more than 2 lines per caption as well, just because that can, come across as quite overwhelming if you have a huge block of content to read. And I say that with a bit of irony because I think Zoom do not always have that, and sometimes you can have several lines per caption, but ideally you'd want 2 lines per caption block. It's also a good idea to break at the end of those lines at natural points. So trying to end on sort of a comma or a full stop, just so it makes it a bit more legible, a bit more easier to read, so you're not making it too disjointed when they move from one line to the other. You do want to use sentence case, and this is helpful for a lot of reasons. It just makes it more legible to read, but also for those with dyslexia, they tend to recognize words a lot easier by their sort of their structure and their shape. Whereas if you use capitalization, that essentially gets rid of that that shape and makes it a lot more difficult to read. And then, of course, making sure that you are indicating that relevant non-dialogue audio as well. And then just a potential discussion point here. So we can have captions that are burned into our videos called open captions, and those that can be turned on and off called closed captions. And just want to get people's thoughts on which option we should use. Are there pros and cons for one or the other? And then just finally, very quickly, I just want to mention audio description as well, which is essentially the spoken description of any visuals that are necessary for understanding. And it is important that it is only those things that are necessary for understanding. We don't want to bombard the user with absolutely everything that's going on in the video, just things that they need to understand in order to get an idea of what's going on and to make that experience equal to them. So some of the things you may want to consider are the context, so setting the scene, maybe who's there, describing people or characters, their actions, what they're doing. Are they moving around, pointing at things, interacting with things? And of course, any text that's in the video as well needs to be transcribed. But with good planning, careful planning, a separate audio description may not even be required. Hopefully, if you do plan it carefully, you can include everything in the original dialogue or narration. It is a good idea to provide context first if you do need to have audio description, and then add in those significant details afterwards. Making sure that you're consistently describing characters and people as well is always a good idea, just to keep that consistency and make sure people are aware of who is and isn't on the screen at any given point. And then making sure that the audio description is clear, so making sure you've got good quality audio description and that it's heard above the video and the noises in the video. And potential discussion point here, does anyone have any thoughts on audio description and how it should be communicated? So should the describer have a more neutral voice so they're not bringing their own biases to the content, or should they try and match the tone and the feel of the video? But yeah, essentially those are some quick key considerations for accessible videos. Obviously, there is a lot more to that, but those are just some core things that we can think about when creating accessible videos. So yeah, Paul, I don't know if you wanted to go straight into social media or if we want to open it to the room for any questions on that. I know that was a quick whistle-stop tour, but I do want to get you guys networking as soon as possible.
Yeah, I guess if there's any burning questions, then do jump in now. And if not, then yeah, perhaps save them for the networking breakout rooms that we'll launch when we've finished rabbiting on. As Mike said. That was great. Thank you, Jack. That's really useful, I think. So on social media, I mean, I should say there's a lot of overlap with what Jack said, of course, because what we share on social media are a lot videos, right? So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff applies clearly to any videos you are sharing on social media. But as well, there's a few other kind of considerations. So again, quick whistle stop tour of a few thoughts, really. Hopefully get you thinking about your own tips and your own experiences on social media and your own hopefully some good examples that you can perhaps say that you've seen on social media. So start thinking about that now as well, for maybe in the discussion. So yeah, looking at social posts, so perhaps some of the more visual platforms like Instagram and things, you've perhaps got issues around use of color there. So you're looking at whether color is being used to convey a meaning, or whether you need to be able to perceive the differences between colors, in which case you need to factor in contrast ratios and things like that, or provide an alternative way of understanding the differences between the colours. So whether that's a pattern or an outline around one thing and no outline around another, or things like that, just ways that aren't reliant purely on colour. And certainly you need to have that colour contrast as well. If you're designing a graphical element for sharing on social media, you want to be able to perceive, even with low vision, the difference between the foreground colour and the background colour. And that's where something like color contrast analyzer, a free tool, can be used to test the difference there. So those are kind of color considerations. But clearly, a lot of social media is very text based, and there's not that control over the color and the appearance because you're using mainly the text to share there. So that's more within the images that you may be sharing. And on the subject of images, alt text, which I feel like it's kind of got traction now. I feel like we're seeing a bit of a movement, particularly on some of the newer social networks that have kind of sprung up in the wake of the changes at X or Twitter. We're seeing a lot of the new social networks, things like Mastodon and Blue Sky, do seem to have a bit more of a culture baked in of doing alt text, which is really good to see. And I think it's important to do that clearly. And the way I like to think about alt text is if you were reading your social post to someone over the phone, what would you say about that image? And I think it's if you keep that in mind at all times, then you'll get that alt text about right. Whereas what you're sometimes seeing people doing, unfortunately, on social media now is using it as like an extra joke or some text that kind of requires you to be able to see the image to even understand it, which is very much the opposite of what alt text should be doing. That alt text needs to be conveying the meaning of your image. So, in other words, yeah, what would you say to somebody if you were describing that post over the phone? And it may be that the image isn't really conveying much meaning at all, although that's less common on social media because you probably wouldn't bother attaching it if it wasn't. In which case, you want to just keep that super succinct. But you do, yeah, you want to have alt text there on social media because otherwise you might find the social network itself puts something like image in there, which is supremely unhelpful. And yeah, I thought of an example when I was writing my notes for this. Where you've perhaps shared a little flyer for an event you've got coming up. You would not put the alt text, which is the kind of thing you do sometimes see of poster advertising launch event. That's not what you want. You want the information that's on that poster. You want to know launch event Sunday the 19th of November, 2 p.m. Trafalgar Square or something like that. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. And if you're extracting text from an article into a screenshot, which is quite common on social media as well, you do want to put that text in the alt text, but ideally also include a link to the article so that users have access to all the plain text from the original article. On which note, avoid images of text if you can, but they are big on social media, particularly because you haven't got that formatting control. So do avoid that, but make sure you're putting that text in the alt if possible, and make sure that you've got good contrast and clear, clean fonts, sans serif, that kind of thing. And yeah, a lot of people use third-party tools to do social media posting as well. So there's kind of two-pronged approach here, really. So we're talking about things like Hootsuite and Meta platform for social sharing and that kind of stuff. If you're using those, try to use a tool which supports accessibility features such as alt text. But if you can't get your hands on one, or your company is completely tied into one that has flaws, do complain about those flaws to the provider of the platform, because they're only going to change that if they get that kind of feedback from their customers. Maybe threaten to move away, threaten to take your business elsewhere, and threaten sounds a bit dramatic, but you know what I mean. It's a matter of kind of applying that pressure as a consumer of their product to try and improve your ability to publish accessible content. And my final couple of points, which I don't know what I've recorded a short video that's popping up all over the place at TechShare Pro, and I don't know if anybody's had it inflicted on them just yet. But if you have, you can have a cup of tea while I tell you these quick 3 points because they're all in that video as well. But emoji, do use emoji if you want. They have a meaning built in. But just make sure you know what that meaning is. It's not always what you might expect. Sometimes they have slightly different names from what you would expect. Check on maybe Emojipedia. And don't overuse them, and maybe put them at the end of your post as well, so that if a user is, for instance, on a screen reader having that read out to them, they can skip over, move on to the next post when the chain of emojis starts coming out. Likewise, hashtags, they can be quite good to put at the end of the post as well, because particularly if there's a few of them, you might again want to skip that post, and then you won't miss the rest of your content if they're not at the end. And with hashtags as well, make sure you use camel case. So if there's multiple words in your hashtag, start each one with a capital letter where they're joined together, so that assistive technology and sighted users, to be fair as well, can perceive more easily where the words start, where the joins are. And there's an amusing and only semi-risque example of that in my video, so if it does pop up later, you can enjoy that. And finally, something that there's a bit of a trend for at the moment is these fake formatting fonts, which is where users can go on third-party websites to try and format their text to be bold or italic or otherwise look, sort of pop out of the post. But unfortunately, they aren't real fonts. They are weird characters, symbols that don't mean the text. So they lose their meaning completely. So effectively, the text you're trying to emphasize is actually removed from your post in terms of the meaning of your post. So if your platform doesn't support that formatting, don't try and apply the formatting is the rule of thumb, if you can't do it natively in the social platform. So yeah, those are a few tips there, but I'd be really interested if anyone else has got any. Perhaps bring those up in the breakout room shortly, and yeah, see what great things we've got to share, and perhaps we can get some feedback off those as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Paul. That was great. Thank you so much for going through that. So yeah, we had a lot of engagement in the chat that I've seen, which is fantastic. Thank you everyone for adding your thoughts, and I see there's some resources being shared, and just people's general experiences with that. So yeah, that's fantastic. Do keep them coming. So I think we've got around 20 people here, 18 people. So I think it would be worth perhaps creating maybe 2 breakout rooms, get some people together just to make it a bit more manageable for yourselves, so everyone's not talking over
Three?
each other and everyone gets the opportunity to share their thoughts and their ideas.
Yeah, I think
Um,
we're going to do three maybe. So
yeah,
yeah,
let's do
there
3,
we
even
go.
better.
Good. So yeah, we'll get you all back at about 35, 40 past one, sometime around then, and yeah, we'll see what's been going on.
Yeah.
Uh, the ideas, the tips, the thoughts. That'd be great. So yeah, we'll open the rooms now if that's all right. Everyone ready? Brilliant. Um, how does this work? Let's see. Brilliant. Thanks.
Or do we join the rooms as well, or do we? Because I know in the instructions it said to stay in the main hall, but I don't know what the
Uh,
etiquette is.
yeah, it looks like it's randomly allocated us to some rooms, or it's randomly allocated you to one.
Yeah, but I just didn't know if we was meant to
I
join
think
or
we should
not.
probably stay here, yeah. And then if anyone gets left behind and doesn't join a room, we can talk to you.
Yeah,
So it's an incentive to make sure you join the room when you're offered it. Otherwise, you have to
yeah,
talking to us for longer.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if as the sort of hosts, are we able to jump in and out of rooms just to make sure people are doing okay? And
Yeah, I think we can. I guess as long as one of us is in the main room at all
Um,
times. Oh, hi.
Hi, sorry, my name's Ruby. I did get assigned to room 2, but I've now managed to be back here. So can
oh,
someone put me back in?
Oh, I can
And
put you back in. Yeah, there you
thank
go.
you. Thanks.
Oh, I
thanks.
think I can. Wait, no, it's not letting me.
Hmm,
That's
okay.
odd.
But yes, you as facilitators, if you should be able to jump into any of the places, and you can send announcements and stuff as well to people in Zoom.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah,
Uh,
I thought we would be able to. Let's have a look.
I can't see a way to move you there. That's weird. It just if I do that, that's. I mean, I could move you to a different room. Would that be
Well, just
okay?
put me in somewhere. That's fine.
Let's try a
Thank you.
different one. See if that works. How's that? Has that worked? Confusing.
Think so. It says not joined.
Oh, that's it. Done. Okay, great. So we've managed to get everyone who moves now between us. That's good. It's
Okay.
confusing, isn't it? I've never seen the breakout rooms from the other side, you know.
Yeah, same. This is interesting.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Now let's have a look where they've gone. I'm going to catch up on the chat as well. If you want to be looking around rooms, you're welcome to. Would you want to, Jack? Or
I can try. I'll see how that goes.
that's you really. Just
Okay,
gonna
I'll
look.
try joining room 1.
Yeah, perhaps I'll have a look in chat and you have a look in real people. Um,
Okay. All right. Wish me luck.
good luck. Oh, hello. Someone's come back, I think. You-
I'm back.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I joined room one. They were talking about internal sort of communications as well, which is really interesting. So
Oh, brilliant.
we've got some people in the waiting room.
Oh, they weren't there a minute ago. Let me let them in.
Oh, I've got a few people.
Oh, okay. I'll
Or have
admit.
I done something? Maybe I didn't end
Uh,
the room
Yeah.
for them.
I'll admit them more, and then we can push them over to the rooms. Hopefully, if we can work out how. Here we go.
There you go.
Oh, unassigned. Yeah. Hi there. I'll let them. Oh, assigned to just a random. Hi there. Yeah. Um, I have assigned. I've assigned you to room 2. Hopefully.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had to. I ha Thank you. I'm sorry I had to drop out. Somebody called me,
Oh,
but
don't
You're
worry.
back
fine.
now.
Is the have you had a prompt to join a room? I've tried to assign you to room 2. I can try room 3 if that hasn't worked though. We're just doing breakout rooms. I'll
I've
try
got a
room.
little thing that says join breakout rooms, but it doesn't say which one.
Oh yeah. So if you say yes or okay or whatever to that, you should be able to join a conversation that's
Oh,
on
there
by
we go.
accident,
Yeah.
and then we'll get you back in here at the end. Brilliant.
Thanks so much.
No
Yeah.
worries. Catch you in a bit.
Wonderful. Thanks for your help.
No problem. Bye bye. Oh, is it not working?
Bye bye. I don't know whether I've gone or not. Hang on. Join
Maybe
breakout.
Brilliant.
Oh, there we go.
Great.
Well, I've just realized that obviously the session's being recorded, but it's just this
It'll be
main area. Don't
Yeah.
know how enjoyable that'll be for people watching it back, but
Can we put a hand up and say, please, if you're editing this, cut this out.
yeah.
You don't want
Yeah.
this bit. Just
Yeah.
chop in the middle. Oh,
Uh,
so that's Jack. You've moved to room 2, but it's all right. He's still there. Don't accept.
yeah. Okay, I might join room 2 though and see how they're getting on.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Don't assign Jack to rooms because he'll do himself. That's
yeah.
all right.
I have the power. I have the power.
Yeah, that's all
Cool. All right, I'll see you
Look.
back in a bit.
I was on
Great.
autopilot then,
No
just signing
worries.
in that wasn't assigned.
Get in that room.
Get out, get in there.
Yeah, go away, Jack.
Sorry.
No,
Apologies.
You're all good. All right, see you in a bit.
catch you in a minute. So yeah, what's this about adult content? I see. Goodness me. Yeah, I don't think I have much to contribute on that topic really. It's a complicated one about moderation really. Oh well.
Could you maybe ask him to?
Yeah, I'll see. I mean, it's not. It's kind of beyond. It's not really. It's a bit tangential to our work. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
Is there a source that we could potentially point him in the direction of? Or
it's kind of a question about how the social networks themselves censor things, and
is it going to be
it's
on an
tricky, isn't it?
individual basis?
It is really, yeah. I think there's probably not a lot we can do about that. But
I'm back.
Hi, I was just about to send shall I send a broadcast message to the room saying we'll close them in 5 minutes or something like that, or a bit less or a bit more? I don't know.
Yeah, we can do. I think, I
No,
mean, room two is definitely having a good engaged conversation
right.
around different assistive technologies and,
Yeah.
introducing it at an early stage.
So I
So
suppose it
yeah,
depends to what extent we want them to come back and share a tip from each room or something, whether it's worth it. I don't know. Do you think it's worth it or do you think it's not really?
yeah, I think that could be good. Even if it's just
Yeah,
like 5 minutes towards the end, just, one
cool.
thing that came out of your breakout room.
Yeah,
Hopefully someone will volunteer from that room to just have a brief summary of, oh, we talked about this and that.
brilliant.
Would be
Okay,
quite
well,
good.
perhaps I'll send a broadcast message then that says we'll close the rooms at 1:40,
Hmm.
and we'd just like a 1 minute, one tip or something from each room. Um, and then we'll round it off that way, kind of thing. And then at least people can be thinking about that, can't they? Shall I?
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
think that's a great idea. Thanks, Paul.
no worries. It says broadcast voice. Can you imagine doing that? It'd be like, this is Big Brother.
Yeah. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah,
You'll be evicted.
yeah. Okay.
Cool. I'm just going to pop into breakout room 3 then and see how they're getting on. How did I do that? Lost. Okay, here we go.
Oh, doesn't give you much text, does it? It's run out of space. It says I can't keep typing. It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. We're having some breakout rooms at the moment, so I'll assign you to one now. And if you'd like to join it, you'll be able to catch the last 5 minutes of people's discussions around accessible communications. So I'll do that now.
Thank you.
No worries. Hopefully you'll get a prompt to join. So we'll be welcoming everyone back. No, he's gone. Oh, right. I assume we just hit this to be and everyone comes back.
I'd give it till the thingy.
Yeah. But, hello. Oh. Hello there. We're just about to close all the breakout rooms and bring everyone back. Oh, no. Do not look at me clearly. Right. Please edit everything out that's happened in the last 5 minutes. In the last 20 minutes, I should say. Okay, I'm going to close the rooms now.
Yes.
All participants will return. Oh, in 60 seconds. Oh. Okay, well, there's a learning point. Yeah, so when I said 1 minute left, I should have pressed it then, it turns out, but I didn't know
well,
that.
you live and learn.
You do. It's been a learning experience. So here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Hi all, hope that's been useful.
Yeah, I think it gives everyone a minute to automatically join back or to manually join themselves back. So
Oh, great.
it may be a minute before we get everyone back in, but
Yeah.
we should see a steady stream of people joining us.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just from the momentary joining the some of the groups, there's been some great discussions that I've been a part of. So yeah, thank you everyone who's been engaged in those.
Yeah, that's really good. And yeah, we've got just a few minutes left. So once I think is everybody back now? I think everyone is back now. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, if people would like to, I don't know if anyone wants to be the spokesperson for each of those rooms and just give us their one kind of takeaway or a random takeaway. If you've got lots of takeaways, hopefully you have from your time in the rooms. Yeah, any volunteers to go first?
Hey, it's Ruby. I was going to wait till it got to number 3, but we were breakout number 3. We had a few different people. One person that wasn't able to chat because of their microphone, but one of the issues that we had is that you could specify within your organization what communication, what best accessible communication you use. So specifically emailing or a preset or a Word document. So you can do that within the organization. But when you change the application, for example, so using Outlook on the desktop, but then you start to use Outlook on the app, then that functionality to preset your text style, to preset your font size and preset your font color, it leaves, and it's a bit unfair that you're saying to the organization, this is what you must do, but then that functionality is not there. And I was just raising that if anyone had any ideas. So someone mentioned maybe someone's quite techie, so they might know within the app in the background, or someone mentioned about maybe speaking to Hector Minto. So if anyone knows where he is, and if you could,
I said he was about. He's definitely around somewhere.
Yeah, there's
Anyway, so that was
definitely
us.
some people around here somewhere. So I'll call them later and say, you tell me how to set Outlook up. That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Ruby.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else got some quick takeaways from their sessions?
Yeah, we were in breakout room 1, and we briefly just talked about language because obviously that's a key thing, right? But even if you just take the access needs and the kind of disability out of the whole language conversation, I think the average reading age, depending on which stat you use in the UK, is like anywhere from like 9 to 14. So like you just kind of need to think about your audience in that way.
That's a really
Absolutely.
brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Jack, go on. I've been
No,
talking to
I was going to say probably exactly what you were going to say. That's such a good point.
That kind of things. I feel my tech is being excluded from view communication now. Integration of access technology. I gaze voice synthesizer into mixed and augmented reality smart glasses. That kind of things. I feel my tech is being excluded from view communication. Them.
Absolutely. We do need a broader range of what communication means and the different methods and mediums that is used. So yeah, amazing point. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, it's just about perfect timing as well, isn't it? I think we're just coming up to 1:45 now. So
Yeah.
that's
If
really
anyone,
good feedback.
yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, if anyone has any final thoughts or comments they want to make, yeah, please do let us know.
But otherwise, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, it's been
It's been-
fantastic. I know that was relatively
Thank you.
quick, but I hope you found that useful and managed to have a good chat with a few other people in the session, and had some good takeaways and some food for thought going forward. So yeah, thank you all so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your time at
Thank you,
TechShare
everyone.
Pro.
Thank
Hopefully see you
you.
around.
Bye.